Alright, welcome to Risk Management, the first section of your Surf Lifeguard Award. If you're following along in the manual, it's pages 4 through 10. If you're working through your workbook, feel free to pause at any point to fill out the gaps, and we'll be working from page 5. Now, risk management is actually really important in surf lifesaving because we are putting ourselves on the line to go and rescue someone. They've often got themselves into some pretty hectic situations. So it's really important that we examine some of these risks. If we act outside of our capabilities, if we act outside of our equipment's capabilities, then we're going to find that we're in situations where we're going to get into strife, or we're going to end up getting one of our fellow lifeguards into strife as well. So risk management's actually really important. This once you gain your lifeguard award, you'll be on the beach. Next season, you'll have to do a refresher like everyone else because we refresh every year, every season, and that involves a little 20-question quiz and a run-swim run, and if you're in a call-out squad, a 400 swim time, a tube rescue as well as in there, and we make sure that you're still up to scratch with your CPR as well. We want to do that every season because we want to make sure that you're actually fit enough to do this, that you're not going to get yourself or someone else into danger. There's a whole lot of other reasons, and this little quick parody we've got here highlights some of those things. So have a watch.
Hi, my name's Chur and I'm a lifeguard. Saving lives is what I do. Gee Wilkers, you caught me at a good time. We've got some action. A little girl is drowning.
Making sure you clean up after yourself
Okay.
helps us stop injuries.
It's gonna be okay. I'm coming. Oh.
Making sure you actually know how to use the equipment that you are using.
It's okay. I got you. Be quiet. Everything's gonna be okay.
Making sure we've got the best techniques to actually do the job that we want to do to get a beneficial outcome.
We lost her. I'm sorry. We lost one. Okay, we're not gonna air that. Cut.
It seems silly, but things like not rushing into a dangerous situation. We always make sure that we check for dangers first. There's a big difference between rushing and showing urgency. I really do want to get down to the water's edge fast, but I'm certainly not going to take a shortcut like this guy. What a muppet. Ends up slowing down his whole response just because he thought he'd take a shortcut. Now this one is obviously Mr. Bean style risk management, and really there's nothing that would stop us from rescuing someone, but how we rescue them would definitely change. So for us, you might find that the surf is actually too big for you to do this rescue as a tube rescue. That doesn't mean we're not going to rescue them. It means we're going to task an IRB, an inflatable rescue boat. Or maybe we're going to get SurfCom, our communication hub, to radio the RWC crew, that's our rescue watercraft crew, that patrol our coast in the peak season, to come and help us out. Maybe we need some more resources. Some of the hazards to surf lifesaving members while we're lifeguarding. The sun, that's a pretty obvious one, and that's why our uniforms are designed to cover us up. Hypothermia, another reason why we have long sleeves, and a good reason to wear a full wetsuit, also protecting you from the rocks as well. Along with hypothermia definitely comes hyperthermia as well, so the opposite, that we end up getting too hot, so making sure that we're staying hydrated. So dehydration is another one of our hazards. Infectious diseases, we're talking more about if you're doing first aids, then you should be wearing gloves, making sure that we clean up if we end up dealing with someone who, for example, gets their blood on the floor of a first aid room or something. We want to make sure that that's cleaned up so it's not hazardous material. Now this little picture over here in the corner shows the regions for Surf Lifesaving New Zealand, and we are part of this one here. This is Northern Region, from far north all the way down to Raglan. Surf Lifesaving New Zealand has a bunch of ways that it protects its members, from having a whole bunch of regulations that we follow and policies. Things like, in the seasons to come, we'll be made to wear helmets when we're in the IRB, because it's actually a really dangerous environment and protecting your head's really important. Head injuries are really dangerous. Things like having an age limit to drive our ATVs. And a certain type of license to be able to do that. A code of conduct for all members. If we're being muppets, then people are going to get injured. That's pretty obvious. Risk assessment. If you're part of junior surf, you'll notice that, or you might know that we do a risk assessment before every single junior surf session. We want to make sure that it's actually safe enough to put our people in the water. If we're running a training camp, it's the same sort of thing. Is this an environment? Is the surf okay for us to actually go for a swim today? Or do we need to plan something else? We want to make sure that it's actually safe for our members. How does SLSNZ protect its members taking part in sport? Well, there's a code of conduct for all members, and then also those risk assessments and management systems also happen at all your big comps as well, or as we call them, carnivals. There are health and safety plans at some of the big events. You've got physio and things like the rowing comps. There's usually an ambulance standing by. And there's a rule that says that at a certain point in the season, all competitors have to be refreshed. We want to make sure that if push comes to shove, you can rescue yourself, if not someone else in your crew. Now, this is the Bethel's Masters crew at World Masters Games in Takapuna this in 2017, I think, 2016, 2017, one of them. What are the health and safety responsibilities of Bethel's? Well, it's really important that we provide for the health and safety of our members and our visitors. Having safe access to the club, provide information, training and supervision. So if you wanna learn how to be in one of the boats as a crew person, we've got instructors to train you for that. If you want to know where our cave systems are, you can look in our patrol operations manual for that important information. If you want to if you want to use any of the boards and stuff, you can be trained in how to do that as well. We make sure that we inspect and control the use of gear and equipment. So if you take an IRB out, that you guys won't be able to do that just yet because you're newly qualified. But we want to make sure that equipment is actually safe for you to use. But it's the same with the boards as well. I certainly don't want you to get cut on a broken handle or something like that. This is actually a picture of me when we're talking about safe access to the club. I ripped my foot open on a nail sticking out of the deck, and when we think about the health and safety responsibilities of Bethel's, after that we went around and we hammered in all of the nails on the deck so this wouldn't happen again. So that's really important. How do we reduce injuries to members and visitors? Well, we're going to take care of those that we're responsible for. So if you're bringing kids to the surf club, it's not a babysitting service. You're looking after them the whole time. We want to make sure that people are able to offer first aid. Warn any others of risks, guys, just so you know. Every now and then you might find a nail sticking out of the deck, so grab a hammer from down on the IRB shed and go and hammer it in. Cooperate with those in charge. That's going to reduce injuries, because hopefully the people that are in charge are asking you to do things that are supporting your safety. That's the goal there. We want to make sure that we're using equipment safely. The take-home message is to look after ourselves and others. Your health and safety is your responsibility. It's no one else's. The buck stops with you in the end. So we want to make sure that we stay fit and healthy, that we refresh our Lifeguard Award yearly. We make sure that we lift things safely. You can see here in this picture we're doing some 90-mile training, and to lift this we do it as a team. Things like making sure that you bend your knees and you've got a straight back. If you've got one of the ATVs, one of the vehicles, then why not use it? Get some more people to help you, use handles, all of those sort of things will help you lift something safely. Managing stress, it's really easy in a volunteer organisation to pick up lots of jobs, lots of things to do, because there's always a need. But it's really important that you think about your safe and you manage your stress levels. We certainly don't want you to overcommit to something. Now, in terms of actually being part of a hectic incident, we've got a whole lot of things in place to help with those. With what you might end up facing. There are critical stress debriefings where we come together and we talk about what we just faced in that incident. We talk about where we were and how we felt, and we give props to people who have done great things. You know, hey, thanks so much for getting onto Surfcom and calling that ambulance so quickly, and I couldn't have done it. Having that comms log has meant that we've got an epic record to cover our butts if this thing ends up going, getting really big and needing to go to court. That's some of the scale of some of the things you might end up facing in your lifeguarding career. And so our critical stress debriefings are a really good time to get things off our chest, and to make sure that no one's leaving there with unresolved feelings. I guess that's probably the best I can describe it. And there are heaps of other things that we've got in place after our debriefings. Things like the peer support network. In every surf club there'll be a poster up somewhere which has all of your peer support stuff, and the peer support team for Northern Region are people who have said that they're okay to be called pretty much 24 hours a day. If you face something and we're seeing signs of hypersensitivity, we're seeing things like you're not sleeping, you don't want to guard anymore, all of these things after you face something hectic, absolutely pick up the phone and give one of those people a call. And for those of us who are on it, we're absolutely more than happy to meet up for a coffee, or to come and sit with you, or just to maintain the lines of communication, so that we don't actually lose you as a guard either, and most importantly, you're emotionally safe. Surf Life Saving New Zealand's also hooked up to EAP, which is Employee Assistance Program, and it's a brilliant little service where if you call 0800 EAP now, they can give you free counselling. It's incredible. And no one in your club finds out about that. Even at the highest levels, all Northern Region knows is that someone has activated EAP, and they get sent a blank cheque to deal with. A blank bill, to deal with. So your name's not attached to any of that stuff if that's a worry for you. We want to make sure that you guys, first and foremost, are really safe. Making sure that we have each other's back, but again, like I said before, ultimately your safety is your responsibility. Cool, and that's the end of our risk management section. Thanks.